May the blessed peace of Christ the Lord be in each one of my brethren. Today I come to this place to finish telling my testimony, which a few days ago I told, but I didn't tell it in all reality because my mouth was anchored. My mouth was sealed. I couldn't even eat because of an accident I had. But today, thanks to God that I have life and health, I come to tell my testimony. My testimony in the life that I lived, like many human beings, I lived a life different from today because I used to think differently. Today, I belong to the church, the light of the world, pillar and support of the truth, here in Medellin, Colombia, in the beautiful province of Lovely. I've belonged to the church for more than 20 years. I have learned many values from the church, but truthfully, the way I was walking, I had a different side to me than how I am today. Because many times we can think the way we walk within the path of the Lord is sufficient for salvation. But as a result, we always have to work much more for our salvation than what we think. Truthfully, sometimes the way we walk in the path of the Lord, we have our spiritual life molded our own way. But God called us to this path to serve Him, to look for Him all the days of our life. And it's not sufficient only when we want to or have time to come to the temple and pray and give thanks to God. No, it should be every day. A few days ago, something happened to me, which for the human being is an experience no one wants to have, and it's obvious. But sometimes we need to go through struggles sooner or later. Many times we go to sleep and wake up and we give thanks to God, but we don't take our life into account. Our life doesn't belong to us. Our life has an owner, and the owner is God. In every moment, we should cling to Him so that He permits us to live and have health and enjoy all the things that are on this earth, which is a privilege we enjoy within the people of God. A few days ago, something happened to me. I, your brother, belonged to the church. I evangelized. I had fellowship with my brethren. I went to the prayers. I was active in regards to the spiritual things. But something happened to me, which for mankind no one would want to go through. On February 7th, a young man shot me 4 times. One in the hand, one in the leg, one in the face, and one in my head. He shot me 4 times. It was a bitter experience because if I was part of the church of the Lord and I walked according to His will, why would I be condemned? When the young man shot me in the head, my body fell to the ground. But someone yelled and put their hand on their mouth and said, "I'm condemned, I'm condemned. I told you to look for the Lord more. I'm condemned." So then, who was the one on the floor? The truth is, when the young man shot me in the head, well, before that happened, I had a friend, a companion. I spoke to him often. He worked in a mortuary and he organized corpses. I would speak to him, and he told me one time, he said, Tears. He called me Tears because that is my nickname. So he said, "Tears, what do you think about this?" Today I organized a corpse and I got the impression that they feel or hear. I told him, liar, when someone dies, what can they feel? He said, no, look, read this book. Read this one part of the book. So I began reading the book. It spoke about the human body and how one particular organ takes hours for it to die. So then I thought, how interesting. Who would want to have that experience? Nobody. But there are times that it does happen. When the young man shot me in the face and head, I was with my family. I was with my mother, my mother-in-law, my brothers, and in fact, some clients from the mortuary business. When the young man shot me, my body fell. I don't know how my body fell, but I was on the side of my body. And I was begging for an opportunity because my condemnation was approaching. At that moment, I thought, why should I be condemned? If I was part of the church and I pleased God, why should I be condemned? But there was something distressing. Or rather, I was desperate in the spiritual body because the material one was on the ground. And I said, I'm condemned, I'm condemned. I told you to look for God more. At that moment, what my friend said days before was fulfilled. My body was on the ground. And I was standing in desperation. Though I couldn't see anything because everything around me turned dark. But I heard my sister's voice when she arrived. She said, oh my, they killed my brother. They killed my brother. Why did they kill him? In reality, I was off to the side. And I would touch my entire body and my face. And I wanted to tell her, no, I'm okay. He didn't do anything to me. He didn't do anything to me. Look, I'm okay. I spoke to her. And at the same time, I wanted to touch her, but I couldn't. Then my wife came. I heard everything. I could hear everything, but I couldn't see anything. My wife came and she said, they killed my husband. Why did they kill him? Oh my, they killed him. I wanted to tell her as well, no, they didn't do anything to me. Look, love, look. I touched my body and face. Look, they didn't do anything to me. I wanted to touch her, but I couldn't. I heard everything, but I couldn't do anything. They looked for a taxi to put my body inside. A taxi came and they put my body inside. But before that, a brother from church came. He told them, no, turn him face down because he's choking. I was dripping a lot of blood from my hand, leg, and face. So they turned me upside down. And then a taxi came and they put me in. I could hear when the brother said, sister, don't let him close his eyes. Don't let him close his eyes. Talk to him. Talk to him. So she said to me, love, speak to the Lord. Ask for the Lord, my love. On this earth, there is a servant of God who hears. And God hears us. So speak to him. Ask the Lord. Promise something to the Lord. So in desperation, I wanted to ask the Lord for another opportunity. I wanted to ask for another opportunity. So I asked him for another opportunity. But nobody listened to me. Then the brother said, don't let him close his eyes. I asked for another opportunity, but it wasn't possible. When we arrived at the hospital, they put me on a gurney. I heard everything, but I couldn't see anything. When they put me on a gurney and the medics started to revise me, they said, no, he's doing very badly. He's doing very badly. I couldn't hear my wife anymore because she stood in the waiting room. Then they took my body to another room. I don't know where they took me, but I could hear the medics. They said, no, he's doing very badly. He's losing a lot of blood. Doctor, we should intubate him. In my desperation, I said, what do you mean intubate? How could this be happening? I was terrified. My soul knew where it was, but it was on the side of my body and it didn't want to leave. And I felt a horror, and I felt that I was going to be condemned and that my condemnation was approaching. And so the medics were saying, he's doing very badly. We're going to lose him. He's doing very badly. He needs to be intubated. Bring the equipment to give him artificial life. I don't know what they were doing to my body at that moment, but when they used the equipment to give me artificial life, in the same way when the young man shot me, and I didn't know how nor when I stood before my body, in that same way, my spirit detached from my body. And I appeared in a place that I don't desire for anybody. God has granted me life and health. Therefore, I want to tell everyone my testimony. I've told many people, and they are frightened and terrified. But I'm the one who lives every day with the horror that I experienced and felt. I want to tell the brethren, look, care more for your salvation. Don't worry so much about material things, because material things stay on this earth. Everything that you do materially will perish on this earth. It will stay here. And over there, you will arrive with empty hands. And over there is when you will beg, wishing you had pleasing things to offer the Lord when it's too late. I arrived at such a horrible place. I don't desire it, not even for my worst enemy. I don't desire it. That place is horrible. Over there, your soul groans. Over there, your soul is in despair. I arrived at a dark, horrible place. I rubbed myself in desperation. I rubbed my body. I felt chills from the fear. And I said, what is this horrible place? Where am I? What is this? I started to feel large multitudes of people who would complain in such a horrible way. One thing is to complain on this earth because someone hit you or because of personal pain, but another thing are the groans in the place over there. It's horrible. There are groans that come from the deepest parts. There are multitudes of people. There is a place there where everyone arrives. Everyone who does good or bad will arrive at that place. But there is a difference between the righteous one and the unrighteous one. The righteous one sets out towards a beautiful door. It's a beautiful door. I did not enter. I did not enter into that place. But if I would have been allowed to enter, I would have not wanted to return. I was giving another opportunity because on this earth, there is a man who prays for us and a people that God listens to. The day that the young man shot me, the brother Benjamin saw everything. He called all of the church of the province to lend me prayers so that God would have pity on my soul. And all of the church lent me their prayers. And I, in that place of torment, also asked for an opportunity. It's not like the world believes it to be. It's not like the world has in mind. They believe that the enemy has a pitchfork and a tail. No, he's not like that. The enemy has another appearance. When I was in that place, in despair, everything was in darkness, but I heard horrible voices. They acclaimed supplications in a way that I had never experienced. In the midst of the darkness and of a strong smell of sulfur, because it smells horrible there, I saw a beautiful door. From the bottom of the door, a special light shined, and from the sides of it, the special light shined. And I, terrorized, ran to the door. When I got to it, I wasn't allowed to enter. Something detained me. I didn't see what, but something detained me. I wasn't capable of advancing. I tried from one side and then the other, but nothing worked. I couldn't. I wasn't allowed to enter. Immediately, my spirit understood. Because being in that place, your spirit understands everything. When I wasn't allowed to enter, I understood that salvation was not for me. Why? If it was days, years that I was serving the Lord, I was part of the church. I believed that I pleased God. Why should I be condemned? I went to the 5 a.m. prayer. I went to the 6 p.m. prayer when I was able to. I went to the Sunday schools when I was able to. But I pleased God. Why should I be condemned? Do you know why? Because everything I did in this life, I did when I was able to, not when I should have. You do not serve God halfway. No, you serve God fully. He brought you to His people. He gave you the desire to look for Him. And you chose to look for Him because you knew that in this church, you'll find salvation and tranquility for your soul. And then you understood this pathway, not in the way that you want, no, in the way He says, and He marks it within us. He says, seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be given to you. The material man always looks for the material things, and we are deceived in that way. First of all, look for God without any conditions. Look for God first of all. God is before your family. God is before your job. Look for Him above all those things if you want to please God. I was part of the church and I evangelized, but I was going to perish. Condemnation was approaching. When I was in that place, I saw that beautiful door, but I didn't enter. I was in despair, brethren. I started to scream and ask for an opportunity at that door. I said, Lord, give me an opportunity out of many that you have given me. I know that my life hasn't been correct, but I should have tried to please Him the maximum. but it wasn't enough. In my life as a teenager, I knew the Lord, but I didn't walk according to His will, and I offended Him. On various occasions, I offended Him. God doesn't forget anything. Man forgets, but God doesn't. When I was asking for another opportunity at that door, I expected someone to come out from behind, but no one opened it. Do you know who came? Do you know who came? When you are clinging to that door asking for an opportunity, there is someone who doesn't care that you are clinging, asking for another opportunity. He cuts you off. He cuts you off in such a way that you stop asking for an opportunity. He has an astuteness and he shuts you up. I stood fallen to defeat from the way he leaves you. I was asking desperately for an opportunity, but an opportunity that I had never before had asked for so much. It came from the deepest parts of my heart. Then someone came on the right side of me. My spirit, my soul knew right away that it was him. With my hand lifted to the door, I was asking for another opportunity when he came. I turned to my left side because I knew that he arrived. The world paints him a certain way, but he's not like that. He is astute. When he came to the right side of me, I expected to hear a horrible voice, a thunderous voice, since he is the devil, the enemy. And I waited, holding on, expecting a loud voice. When he spoke to me, I didn't see him, but I could hear him. He actually has a pleasing voice. He started to tell me, "What are you asking for? Another opportunity? Another opportunity out of the many that were given to you? No, you don't have a chance. Don't ask for any more opportunities." I said, "No, yes, I want another opportunity. I don't want to be condemned." But the enemy had come for my soul. So I began to ask even more for another opportunity at that door. And he said, "Another opportunity? Do you know what that miserable one does? 28 years ago, I did unpleasant things before God. I hadn't remembered. But he put everything before me as if it was today. As if I did those things today is how he put them before me. And I started to see all those horrible things. Do you want to know something, brethren? The thing that offends the Lord so much is fornication and adultery. When he put all of that before me, when I promised the Lord my life for an opportunity, I promised my life to the Lord various times, but I didn't fulfill. And he put those things right in front of you, and you start to see all those horrible things. And I said, "I did this? How horrible. I did that? How horrible. I did that." Such a way that you bow your head down. You don't have a chance. How are you going to ask the Lord for another opportunity after all those wild things and filthy sins? You're left with no words. You don't know how to continue asking God for another opportunity after you see all the unpleasant things you did before God. He shut me up. I couldn't continue asking God for another opportunity. He started to drag me towards the back. The place where I was horrible. There were thousands and thousands of souls clinging to the door to see if they could have pity. He started to drag me on the floor towards the back, as if I had wheels. He dragged me, and all my sins stood in front of me. I could see them. I didn't have any words. The more he dragged me in, the more were the supplications of the souls. More was the horror. He took me towards the back, and it was horrible because where he took me, the sound of the screams grew louder. It was more distressing. He was going to throw me in a place that was so horrible. I didn't want him to throw me there. It was so horrible. There are many people in this world that say, I follow God, but if I'm condemned, many people are going there anyway. Foolish, because they don't know how horrible it is in that place. I don't want to go back to that place. Now I'm looking for the Lord more than ever before because I don't want to go back to that place. When the enemy was going to throw me into an abyss, I remembered a Sunday school as if I was hearing it at that moment. I remembered the Sunday school when Brother Benjamin recited here in this place of the beautiful province. He said that in this place of the beautiful province, God was going to do great and beautiful things that are unimaginable for mankind, but possible for God. The Lord would build places such as hospitals, colleges, universities, housing, and a temple that is so majestic that for man is impossible, but for God is possible. I could hear that Sunday school. And then he said, God would bring man to this place who will help the church, the people of the Lord, spiritually and materially. My head was bowed down, but I can hear it as though I was listening to it at that moment. When I used to pray, I would always go to a chair and use it to support myself, or kneel with my arms to the ground. Now I don't. Now I straighten up. I kneel firmly to where the more my flesh feels it, the more it pleases him. Because this flesh will take me to condemnation if I allow it. When I began to hear it, I straightened up. After the brother said that God would bring people to the church who would help the church materially, economically, and spiritually, I straightened up and I raised my hand and said, Lord, I will be one of them. Lord, I promise this time I will fulfill. Give me life and health and allow me to return, and I will serve you. I will be a strong column. I will be a pillar in your church, but don't leave me here. Don't let him throw me over there. Don't let me keep seeing these horrible things. And I started to tell him, give me another opportunity to return and be a man, and you will be so proud of me. But I told him from the bottom of my heart. When I told him that I would be a strong pillar for the church, he started to listen to me. He started to listen to me. I felt the beautiful presence that you feel when he's next to you. Then I started to see my job. I started to see my job that I killed myself for. I worried so much about the material things. So I started to see my job, and he told me, what are you going to do with your job? I told him, allow me to return, and I will work only for the spiritual things. Don't give me anything material. I want to work for only the spiritual things for you. But I saw how much I killed myself for the material things. But I told him, I will return and I will not continue working so much for the material things, only the spiritual things. Then he showed me the church, the brethren walking right here on this land. He told me, what are you going to do with them? As if I was a person who was wealthy, I promised and told the Lord, allow me to return, and I will care for them. I will watch over them, but allow me to return. Now I cry every day to my Lord because I made him a promise to watch over my brethren. That's why every 15 days I give what I can, because it's a promise I made to my Lord. Not because I have money, but because I'm going to fulfill with my Lord, and I will never forget it. Until the last day of my breath, I will continue with this project, and with the help of many brethren, we will carry it forward. But it's a promise that I made to my Lord. After I saw my brethren, I told him, allow me to return. Then, in the same way that I arrived at that horrible place and my soul had been separated from my body when I was shot in my head, in that same way, I appeared once again in front of the door. I was in front of the door. When I was talking with my Lord and he was listening to me, I was talking with my Lord. And when he started to listen to me, I felt the enemy desperately pulling me to the back. But towards the parallax that I was going to, he stopped and he could no longer throw me there. But he was desperate to throw me there. When I arrived at that door, I was standing firmly. And I had a tray in my hands. I had a big tray. And it was chrome. When you eat and the plate is left dirty, that's how the tray was. It was chrome, but it was dirty and rusted. I had it in my hands and it was empty. Why was it empty? Why was it empty? You know why it was empty? Because everything I did in this life, I thought it pleased God. But nothing went into that tray. Everything I did and believed pleased God did not go into that tray throughout so many years. The tray was rusted. Nothing went into that tray. I told him, give me another opportunity. And the next time I arrive and you claim my soul, I will have this tray so brilliant, so clean, and filled with gifts for you. Allow me to return, because where I was at, I was in despair. I told him. My soul said, the next time I arrive, I will enter through the door so filled with gifts for you that I won't be able to sustain all the gifts. I don't know who will be able to receive them. Someone will have to come out from that beautiful door and receive the gifts. And they will say, come, the blessed of my Father, enter your rest. That is the door I want to enter. When I was telling this to my Lord, the enemy came again. And this time he came to the left side of me. And he wanted to mock me and be offensive. He showed me the thing I was going to lose my salvation for. A material thing. Being from the church, the one who is consecrated, the one who is righteous, puts everything in the hands of the Lord. In those days, I was litigating and fighting for a piece of land. I was about to lose my salvation for a piece of land when I wasn't going to take any of it with me. Everything is going to stay here on this earth. My family, everything that I was struggling for. And he showed me. Look what you lost your soul for. He showed me the piece of land. Look what you lost your soul for. Because he wanted me to concentrate on that since I was right in front of the door asking for an opportunity. And he showed me the land. Look what you lost your soul for. You don't have a chance. You belong to me now. I said, no. No. He's listening to me. And once again, I stood up firmly with the tray and asked for another opportunity. But I had never before asked for an opportunity so strongly, never before on this earth, not even when I was going to be assassinated on one occasion. Never had I asked for another opportunity so strongly. I had the tray, and I was speaking with my Lord. I never saw him, but I felt his beautiful presence. The beautiful presence of life next to me. But I was still in that place of torment. When you see a person head on, you see and feel them. Someone could be on your right side, you can't see them, but you see their figure from the corner of your eye. When I was talking with my Lord, someone picked up a book, a huge book, and they turned to the first page. I was fixed on asking for another opportunity with the tray in my hands. Allow me to return. Allow me. I will be so faithful to you. I will be so faithful to you, my Lord. I saw with the corner of my eye that someone grabbed a book and turned to the first page. And I saw him nod their head. Then he turned to the second page. He looked and looked, and he said, yes. When he turned to the third page, he wanted me to look upon him. Then he closed the book. When he closed the book, and in the same way that I had been transferred from one place to another, is the same way it happened. Someone was rubbing my head. I thought I entered that beautiful place. I opened my eyes and I saw a white wall. But it wasn't what I thought it was. The place above is beautiful, but I said, this is not that place I believe I saw. This is not it, no. Someone was rubbing my head. I turned to see who was rubbing my head. And I saw that it was my wife. And she was horrified. She told me, my love, it's been 9 days that I've been rubbing your head. I was incubated for 9 days. Better yet, brethren, I was dead for 9 days. And for 9 days, she rubbed my head and asked God for an opportunity for me. Then I knew that God had given me another opportunity on this earth. I don't know how or when I arrived at that horrible place, nor do I know when I returned to this earth. But one thing that I am certain of is that I was given another opportunity on this earth. Do you know the things that were documented in that book? Everything you do on this earth, be it good or bad, is noted over there. I didn't do pleasing things for God or for my salvation, but I liked to collaborate with my brethren. I liked to help my brethren, and whenever they needed me, I was there. That is what arrived before the presence of God. And that is why I was given another opportunity. On the contrary, if I had never done those things, I would not be here on this earth, brethren. And for the prayers of the church, and for the prayer of his beloved servant, there is no doubt that he is a man of God. Here we have life for our soul. For the prayer of his beloved servant and the church of the Lord, I have health and life today. Don't work so much for material things. Don't kill yourself for material things. The material things on this earth will perish. Work more for spiritual things, which is what pleases God. In the end and after all, you will not take anything from this earth. Nothing, not your car, not your estate, not your house, nor your family whom you love so much. You will arrive at that place, and over there, God will be pleased only with the spiritual things. All of the beautiful things that you do on this earth is what pleases Him. The material things will perish on this earth. I have told my testimony to many people. I have told many people, and we have cried. And many people have already left this earth. They have left, but I told them my testimony. Many people listen. Many are frightened. But since I was the one who was frightened, I keep it for myself. Every day, I cry to my Lord to not allow me to do wrongful things, but to be able to please Him. The enemy works strongly, it's true. When the enemy sees that the brother is consecrated and God-fearing, he attacks them very much. On a daily basis, he attacks and stalks. But there is the prayer of the servant of God. There is his prayer, and there is the shelter of Christ our Lord, who is our shelter. I said to my Lord, give me life, and I will follow you. I will be here as long as He allows me to. May you not throw this testimony in the trash. Keep it in the deepest parts of your heart and put it to work in your daily life. God bless you and keep you.